In English we say seeing is believing. Yesterday I had an eye awakening experience which gave me a bit of a headache too. Sitting here I was looking at the building in the opposite side of the street and I was very worried because the angles are all wrong. The horizontal is not horizontal. Now in my mind I had this conviction that in Europe everything is perfect, you see, at least in the material plane. So I must be seeing something which is not there. Really I had a headache yesterday because of this. Then at night when I came and sat here, I said that building has got me bothered. And then somebody said, yes, you are right. Because it is not what it is, the horizontal is not horizontal, because the land is sinking. So much for seeing is believing. Don't believe all that you see. Don't believe all that you hear. So you see now the sense is telling me correctly, you see. So what made the interpretation which gave me a headache? Myself. So what I'm trying to suggest is that our sensory apparatus is well designed. So I should have believed what I saw and said that building is wrong. It is not horizontal. But instead of that, I went by some funny preconceived notions of perfection in Europe and got a headache for that. So we have to learn to trust our judgment. And the judgment is given on facts recorded through the senses. When something stinks, it really stinks. There's no use in saying that because this is in Europe, it cannot be a stink. It must be a smell. Something is wrong with my nose. This is where the mind plays tricks. It's the mind which plays the tricks, you see. Because the senses have seen or apprehended what is there to be apprehended. The brain has recorded it. The soul is looking at that through the medium of the mind, and the mind is saying something wrong. That is why in Raja Yoga we are working with the mind, on the mind. The yoga of the mind. So I was thinking of this last night. This morning there were a bunch of French abhyasis who want to leave immediately after meditation. So I was having a short talk with them. And some ideas I gave or exchanged with them. That whenever you give something, you always get more than you give, otherwise you wouldn't give anything. Even in a small thing like buying something in a shop, the price that you pay for it is something less than what you get. It differs from individual to individual, based on our own value systems. But it is implicit in every transaction that if you did not get more than what you are giving for it, you would not do that transaction. The funny thing, or rather something which is quite paradoxical, is that the shopkeeper must be then receiving less than what he is giving. He is receiving money for selling something. Therefore, you see, money is the smallest of things. But then why is he selling something for that money? Because with that, he hopes to give and get something better than what he has given. Now when you want to get, you have to give. Give and take is the law, you see. Not take and give and take. So when you give yourself, you get something better than yourself. If you give parts of yourself, you only get parts, something better than that part which you gave. So in India we say when you give a part of yourself, it is something like prostitution. When a man sells his work, he is getting money in return, therefore it is never satisfying. However high a salary a man may get, however advanced he may be in his profession, unless he gives something and gets something else out of that, which is why we are not happy with salaries. We want recognition, we want approbation, we want a man to say, well done, and that well done is often better than the money that you get for it. Good bosses should know this. A pat on the back is worth 100,000 francs. So you see, human behavior must conform to this, that more than anything else, you have to give sympathy, you have to give approbation, you have to give love. And when you give totally, you get something much more than what you have given. This is the philosophy of surrender. All the rest is bits and pieces, what they call garage sales in the US, throwing away unwanted things. So when we do transactions with parts of ourselves, selling our intellect, selling our body, selling our sex, selling our beauty, it is demeaning because you know you are getting less than what you have given always. Therefore you feel shoddy, you feel miserable, you feel used, you feel cheap, you feel dirty. But when you give yourself and you get something enormously more than what you have given, that is blissful. Therefore the philosophy of giving says, give totally or not give. It also implies that you can only surrender once. There is nothing else left to surrender once you have surrendered. So, no, I surrendered to Sai Baba, now I am surrendering to you. It cannot be done, you see. Therefore, in love, we must surrender totally, you see. And having surrendered, there is nothing else to surrender left. Therefore, the philosophy of one marriage, that is the philosophy of morality, you see. That I don't sell, I give. Morality is not something imposed to restrict our freedom, to restrict our pleasure, to restrict our enjoyment. It is a law. That so long as you sell yourself, you are selling yourself cheap. You will never get something in return which is better than what you have given. Because it is piecemeal, it is a sale, you get only money in return. So you see, the law behind morality is something more than just sex or telling the truth or things like that, you see. It is a fundamental law of existence that what I cannot give totally, I should not give at all. Because once given, cannot be taken back. Once lost, cannot be retrieved. It is like memory erasure in a computer, Y stroke N. You press the Y, it's gone. The computer tells you, too big to retrieve later or to undo later. Y stroke N. If you press the Y again, it is totally lost. I learnt a lot by using a computer. Not science or facts or things like that, but system of working. The mind is like for instance, the monitor, you see. It doesn't do anything, it doesn't work, it doesn't think, but it shows. The working part, what you call the processor, you see, is somewhere else, the hardware. The keyboard is like our sensory system, input, output. And the man who operates is like the soul, you see. So my soul is using my body and my senses and my brain very much like a computer. These are hardware for me. And the interface, the thing which enables it to work with these things and to see the result of its working is the mind. Therefore, in Eastern philosophies, we distinguish between the mind and the intellect. The brain can be intact, but if I am not conscious, what happens? It is as if I have no mind. I cannot work without a monitor, even with a 486, or tomorrow it may be a 686. So you see, a simple thing like the mind is the most important thing. Yet, it doesn't exist, really speaking. It is not an organ. It cannot be located in space or time. You cannot say, this is where the mind is. A man has his brain intact, but when it functions wrongly, you say his mind is gone. When memory is erased, you say his mind is blank. He has no memory of the past. Therefore, we work not on the brain, because it's after all an instrument, integrated chips or whatever you call them, beautifully programmed to function for us. But if the mind interprets things wrongly, I get all distorted information from a bank of information, a storage. The retrieval is faulty. See. Therefore, when we take drugs and things like that which change our consciousness, our information retrieval is faulty. The information is right, my interpretation of it is wrong. That is the danger of drugs. That is the danger of anything which alters states of consciousness. Only with the normal state of consciousness that is given to me as a human being can I appreciate this world and work with it for my evolution. It's all right to quote Huxley and all these great names, you see, and to say that altered states of consciousness show us altered states of reality. Not at all. The reality is the same. It is distorted. So I don't really believe in altered states of consciousness. I only believe that it is a distortion of reality. It is like a lie is a distortion of the truth. The truth doesn't change. Therefore, we say the truth is eternal. Reality is eternal. If my permanent state of natural consciousness is kept intact, unimpaired, I have a medium through which I can work, using this world to work upon myself. In that sense, the world is not there for my enjoyment, it is there for my education. It is something I use to help me to grow and to evolve. Similarly, a computer is not there for my enjoyment. Of course, I too play games sometimes to relax myself or to wonder at the fascinating possibilities. But that is not reality either. A game is never a reality. A game is useful to relax. Relax what? Tensions. Why? Because in a state of tension, again, there is a distortion of reality. Like when a man is angry, he sees something different than what he would see had he not been angry. When he is agitated, he sees things which don't exist. When he is afraid, he sees a snake and a rope on the street. Therefore, there are no place for emotions in spiritual life, because emotions distort. When we are moved by emotion, by a pretty face, we do things which we should never have done, which we realize later. It's a distortion. What brought about the distortion? There's no use in blaming the pretty face. My emotion distorted my version of reality, my appreciation of reality. So there is nothing to be blamed in this universe, either for our growth or for our fall. Nothing to credit outside myself, nothing to debit outside myself. I am responsible. So you see, the onus for both our growth and our fall is upon ourselves. There is nothing outside which can affect me if I retain my pristine consciousness in its pristine state, if I use my hardware correctly, if I allow data to be inputted accurately without distortion of the mind, therefore having the capacity to use that information perfectly, adequately, appropriately. Without this mechanism, I am lost. Lost means I know neither the truth nor the lie. I do not know what is right, what is wrong. When we are lost, we do not know where we are and how to get where we are to get. I may be able to read the name of the street, but that is no use to me. I am still lost. So in a situation where I am lost, the information that is currently available to me is of no use. So much for knowledge, so much for facts. Therefore, when you telephone a friend, if you have the ability to remember his number, he asks you first, where are you speaking from? No, tell me how to get there. For heaven's sake, yes, but where are you? How to tell you where you are, how to get here, unless I know where you are. See? Because if you are to the right of me, you have to walk left. If you are to the left of me, you have to walk right. If you are in front of me, you have to come back towards me. So you see, to orient ourselves towards the goal, this information is at least necessary in the beginning. After that, having got the instructions to proceed, and now I don't need anything else. 3 turns to the right, then 1 turn to the left, 5th house on the left is simple, anybody can understand. So when we go to the master for the first time, we must go in the consciousness that I am lost. Sometimes I even don't know who I am. I have known people coming to Babuji under the effect of drugs, and they are so befuddled that they don't know who they are. They don't know whether they are Danes or Swedes or, I don't know, Eritreans. They are there. But since he is there, now the master can retrieve the information that is necessary for his use. So when you are not there, it is not possible. You have to be there at least for the first time in person. Therefore, introduction in spirituality has to be face to face, person to person. Otherwise, he does not know he is receiving. We do not know to whom we are giving. We do not know what to give, how much to give, why to give at all, if at all. So you see, unless we are able to appreciate this basic law that I cannot get anything without giving, that if I give totally, I get totally, which is much more than what I can give, that having given myself totally once, there is nothing in me which I can give again. And therefore, if I pretend that I have given myself to somebody and I am continuing to give parts of myself to somebody else, whether physically or otherwise, it is a lie, it is cheating. Therefore, I feel ashamed, I feel defiled, I feel lost, I feel guilty. That what I have given away doesn't anymore belong to me. It is like my buying something in a shop, paying the money, and when the girl is looking the other way, pocketing the money again. I can go to jail for it. This is law. What I have given once, To someone, I have no right to give again to somebody else. Because having given something, I have received something which I cannot give. When I give love, I receive love. No, love is something I cannot give back. Money I can give back, things I can give back. I cannot give back life. When I am dying and somebody gives me some medicine which restores me to life, I cannot give him anything except gratitude. Can I say, here, take back the life that you gave me? Therefore, these are debts which we can never repay except with love. Therefore, when we give love and we receive something of extraordinary value, of extraordinary bliss, what can you give more? You can only give something more from yourself. Having given yourself, it is still possible to love, though you don't exist there to love. This is the secret, you see. Many Abhyasis ask me, but I find my love growing. How can you grow in love when you are not there yourself to give anymore? Because love is never given. See. Only things can be given, facts can be given, but not love. Therefore, it is as if having given myself away, my love continues to grow in no place, no time situation. It is as if you have planted a tree and given it to the master, and even after the tree is cut, he is able to still get fruits from that. So you see, this is the secret of love. And this is what we are dealing with in spirituality. This is the sort of love we talk about when we say, having given, you cannot give again. This is the sort of morality of which we speak, that having given once to someone, you cannot give it to somebody else again. It is not something you can deal with as if it is a thing, you see, to be broken up and divided. A heart is given whole or not at all. It cannot be cut up into pieces, 102 pieces, to be distributed to 102 different individuals. It cannot be even given piece by piece to one person and claimed that this is morality, because I have only given it to the same person. It is given once, wholly or not at all. Now we are always talking of love and devotion. You see. Devotion means, to my mind, what? Perfect performance of your duty. We are always confusing devotion and love. But Babaji was very clear in saying love and devotion. So they cannot be the same thing. I have tried to tell you what love is, how it can grow, how it has to be given or not at all, how it has to be given totally, because it is not something which you can cut into pieces. How having given it once, it can still be there though you are not there. Therefore, how when we love in that total sense, the object of our love may be dead, but yet the love is there. The beloved is there. The love is flowing towards him or her, as the case may be. How therefore we cannot think of a second person to replace the first? How this is true morality? Devotion is duty, you see. Perfect duty is devotion. Now, if I am devoted to my master, it means perfection in the performance of the duty he has given to me or which I have voluntarily accepted from him. As nearly perfect as possible. Growing in perfection. No, people ask, how can something grow in perfection? Well, it is, every agriculturist knows, you see, that you have a perfect seed. You prepare a place to plant it as perfectly as you can. You have a perfect sapling, you have a perfect plant, you have a perfect tree, you have the possibility of a perfect fruit. We start with the seed. At each stage it is perfect. It is a growing perfection, it is a changing perfection, yet it is perfection which doesn't change. The object into which that perfection is put or associated with may change, but the perfection by itself doesn't change. Therefore, you can have a perfect diamond, a perfect piece of coal, a perfect seaweed. Anything is perfect. Philosophy says everything is perfect because the Creator did not make anything imperfect. Now we are dealing with what the Creator felt was a perfect creation. And when we blame creation and say this is stupid, that is futile, this is ugly, we are criticizing the Creator. No mother likes to be criticized about her baby. You try telling a mother that your baby is stupid or ugly, she is worse than a tigress. So it's very true. I have tried it very often just for fun, you see, to see the reaction. It is always the same reaction. How dare you say my baby is this and this and this. We have a saying in Tamil that to the crow, its baby is a golden baby. Every mother's child is perfect. So, if every mother's child is perfect, how can there be imperfect people? So, when you think you are imperfect, you are already starting with the criticism of your Creator. I am imperfect. I am never imperfect. My actions are imperfect, my thoughts are imperfect, my giving is imperfect, my taking is imperfect. I am in fact imperfect in my thoughts and actions. I am not imperfect. I am never imperfect because my Master created, my God created. He never created an imperfect thing. Therefore, when we clean, we are removing these imperfections. And here in Sahaj Marg, the perfection also, because the law says you cannot get rid of this duality of existence. You cannot remove imperfection and leave perfection behind. You take both or you keep both. Therefore, when we take away all that is in you, which is not created by Him, then remains that which He created, which is the perfect. So here there is no good, there is no bad. There is only the idea of perfection. No, perfection is neither good nor bad. It is neither big nor small. It is neither tasty nor untasty. Because these are the opposites on two sides of that which is what you call the via media, which is neither perfect nor imperfect, neither good nor bad, neither beautiful nor ugly, nor tasty nor untasty. Therefore, we call it overcoming the dualities of life. You cannot have a person who is only good. It is not possible. He may be good to someone, but he will be bad to somebody else. He is beautiful to somebody, ugly to somebody else. Somebody likes blondes, somebody likes brunettes. Somebody likes tall, somebody likes short. But what is tall and short? It is a measurement which we make. Tall in relation to someone else, short in relation to someone else. They are relative values. So good and bad are relative values. Beautiful and ugly are relative values. Tasty and untasty are relative values. I was once taken to a Japanese restaurant, a very, very Japanese restaurant, as my friend said, who took me there. And everybody was enjoying different varieties of the same seaweed, smelling of fish. I was almost nauseated, and I was further nauseated when I heard that that dinner had cost him $1,000. $1,000. No, you see, the idea of what is nice differs. Poor man, he thought he was doing me a favor by taking me to one of these nicely tucked away Japanese paper mache restaurants with dolls strutting around, with tiny portions of seaweed in different colors, shapes and sizes. They stink all the same. No, that is the real values, the stink. But they value that stink. People who eat raw fish, for them that is the ultimate perfume, you see. Not koti, not lama and things like that. Fish. So you see, here again it is relative. See, there I saw once a movie in Tamil where a well-bred girl from a good family falls in love with a fisherman and marries him. They live in a cottage on the seaside. But he, out of consideration for her, throws away all the fish. And she finds he cannot sleep. He is tossing and turning and he is unable to sleep. Being a very wise girl in love with her boy, She brings a basket of fish and puts it under his bed and he is blissfully sleeping. So you see, these are things which we get used to. No, spirituality says don't get used to anything. Because becoming accustomed to something is a bondage. I am used to Copenhagen, you are a slave of Copenhagen. I am used to this particular place, you are a slave of that place. I love the mornings, you are a slave of time. So you see, there is no getting accustomed to places, persons or things in spirituality. There is only loving places, persons and things. I can love Copenhagen, but if I get accustomed to Copenhagen to such a state that I cannot leave Copenhagen without a pang in my heart, I am lost. Therefore, patriotism has no place in spirituality. Nationality has no place in spirituality. Nationalism has no place in spirituality. Even religion has no place in spirituality because I am accustomed to Christ. I am accustomed to Krishna. I am accustomed to Buddha. No, how can I worship Buddha when I am worshipping Christ? Question would not arise, you see. If you have been really worshipping and adoring Christ, it is a principle that you adore, not a person. Because people always tell me, but Chari, you say you cannot marry twice. So how can I change my master? How can I change my Lord? Because it is not a living thing. See? It is a principle. The principle has no name, no form, no content. He was Jesus. He was not the Christ. Through meditation, by leading a life which was appropriate to achieving that state of being called Christhood, he is called Jesus the Christ. So the Christ is a principle, like Gautama the Buddha. There is no such thing as Buddha. See, it is a principle, it is a state of being. He achieved that state of being, so he was called Gautama, who had achieved that state of Bodhisattva, which is called the Buddhahood. He became the Buddha. Like a man mounts the throne and wears the crown and he is the king now. But there is no such thing as a king. He is still Ethelred the third or Bravado the fourth or Stupid the fifth. See? You know, therefore when he is thrown out and goes into exile, he is no more the king, he is the ex-king. So don't make the mistake of thinking that you worship Christ. You cannot worship Christ. Jesus as a person is not worshipable. So what are you really worshipping? Nothing. Therefore, you are only aspiring to be something like that which was the Christ, which can again be the Christ, which can in the future come again as the Christ, not as Jesus again, because Jesus once, no more. Buddha, Gautama once, no more. Therefore, here also we have the principle, the master, you see. The master is a principle. Babuji Maharaj was a person. Now for those who knew Babuji Maharaj, yes. But for those who have never known Babuji Maharaj, to talk of him is as silly and futile as for people today to talk of the Christ. You understand? So the person has to be distinguished from his state of being. I love happiness. How can I love happiness? I can be happiness. I cannot love happiness. Oh, my wife, you know, when I married her, she was such a happy person, but today, you know, she's always bitter, bitching all the time. Yes, states of being change. Except in that one state, which is unchangeable, changeless condition, which is only available in spirituality, not in wives and husbands. Now, if your husband has achieved that state, the changeless state, he is no more your husband. Then the woman says, no, I have lost my husband. Yes, but he is there. So you see, we are dealing in a lot of fallacious ideas. Devotion is not understood. Am I doing the duty which I have accepted to the best of my ability? That is devotion. If you are devoted. Have I given myself in my entirety to that which I say I love? Then it is love. Have I only given parts of myself, my thinking, my body, my mind? No. If not, what? Again I say, I don't like to use the word, it is prostitution. because you are selling a piece of yourself for something. Now suppose you are shown a diamond necklace and after you have paid the price, he cuts off one diamond and gives it to you. Oh, but madam, they are all the same, 27 diamonds, all the same. Why do you want 27 of them? It's difficult to protect. Take one, it shows everything. Cheating. So when we do something partial, pretending it to be the whole, it is a lie, it is cheating. We are lying to ourselves, we are lying to the other person. Both are being cheated in the bargain. Therefore, both feel miserable. So love and devotion, combination must be theirs. Proper understanding. Surrender means giving once, having given once, nothing more to give, no more possibility of surrender. You cannot surrender again and again. Babuji, I want to surrender to you on the 1st of January every year. It is good. But why? Because I make New Year resolutions. He doesn't say I do it on every New Year. I make New Year resolutions to give myself. It is like my deciding that if I meet a beggar, I shall give him 100 rupees. In Copenhagen, where I am sure I will not meet a beggar. In India, I dare not make such a resolution. So, we should not lie to ourselves. We should not sell ourselves. It is only when you sell yourself piecemeal and get less than what you give that it is immoral. Immorality is not vested per se in any single thing. I have tried to make this distinction. You see that in the East, we are always confusing morality with sexual morality alone. Therefore, we have a lot of chaste people in India who are crooks and scoundrels who cheat you left and right in business, in the shops. They don't think that is morality because for them, morality is only in the sex, nothing else. It's a wrong understanding of morality. Morality is when you sell short. Give less than you take. It is immoral always. So let us try to have a right understanding by using our heart. Nothing of this is new, nothing of this is original. I have not created what I am speaking to you about. But the understanding that I have got is my original understanding, my own understanding, made possible by circumstances which I have accepted, namely the need to live a spiritual life. I hope all of you will be able to do it too. Thank you.